Hey everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch. I am really happy to have you here with me today where we're heading down to the forest garden to pick some apples, and then we're going to bring those apples up to the house. We're going to turn them into a whole bunch of food, both for the pantry but also just something yummy that we can eat right now. Oh my goodness, friends, it is almost cool out enough right now, and it's 3 p.m. to put a sweater on. Ooh, lots of bumblebees. I haven't been stung once this year. I wanted to show you what we got up to yesterday. What we're gonna do right now is head over to that apple tree over there and get those apples picked. But yesterday we came out and picked most of the potatoes out of this patch. There's still a few more down at the bottom that we need to pick. This was my overflow potato patch from all the extra seed potatoes that I accidentally bought from Eagle Creek Seed Potatoes in the spring, I guess is when they came. And I ended up giving quite a few seed potatoes away, but I also planted this extra patch here, and I'll quickly show you before we get into picking apples how many we ended up with. I hardly gave this patch any attention at all, and it still did relatively okay. The potatoes were quite small, but there were lots of them. So these are all the potatoes that we got from that patch, and some of them are fairly decent size, but most of them were really tiny. And the ones in that patch definitely ended up with a bit of scab on them. That's what this looks like, this kind of scabby stuff that's all on the outside of the potato. Not the end of the world because we can just peel that off. Did I ever tell you guys about the bull and this root cellar? So back probably 7 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago now, we had a little Jersey bull. His name was Minion. He was a holy terror, but he disappeared one day and we could not find him anywhere. We looked all over the place. We asked all our neighbors. We drove around the neighborhood. We couldn't find him anywhere. A couple of days went by and I walked down to the root cellar and I just looked over and I noticed the door was cracked open a little tiny bit. And I just had this feeling that I should go check the root cellar. And sure enough, Minion had gotten himself into the root cellar and shut the door behind him somehow. He was stuck in here for 2 days. Fortunately, he was fine because he had all the produce that was in the root cellar to munch on. And munch on it he did. He ate just about everything in the root cellar. So it was very heartbreaking because it was probably only the second year of actually storing food in the root cellar. But we were really grateful to find him and that he was okay. So needless to say, I always make sure that I latch the door when I am coming out of the root cellar. We have a plane flying overhead and it's very loud, and that's very unusual. We don't get a lot of planes or helicopters or anything like that, the noise of them out this way. So here's one of the apple trees that we're gonna pick over here. We've got to get all the apples off this one, and I'm gonna have to be careful because there are some wasps in there also trying to pick some apples, it looks like. This is a young tree. I planted this one, I think this will be year 3 for this tree. And the way you know that the apples are ready to pick is because they will fall off the tree. I'll leave a couple of those for the wasps down there. Just gonna make sure I don't grab myself a wasp. It'd be just my luck on the day that I mentioned not being stung to get stung, wouldn't it? But anyways, the way that you can tell that an apple is ready to pick from the tree is that when you pull on it, it pulls off fairly easily. There are some bird pecks in these apples. Not a ton of them, but a few. My plan with these apples is to make some apple rings with them. And I am going to make a yummy apple pie with these. They are very, very tasty little apples. I did not thin this apple tree, whoops, thin this apple tree very well. It's recommended to thin your apple trees, especially when they are young trees like this. And I did, but not very well. Oh my goodness, these are just falling off the tree. definitely ready to pick. We don't get big, huge apples in our area, but whoops, we can grow some, and they are yummy. Good grief. I'm losing as many apples as I'm actually picking off here. Ah! I just had a wasp land on my arm. Wow, that was really graceful, Chels. If I don't get stung doing this, it's gonna be nothing short of a miracle. Okay, I think that about does it. Couple boxes of apples there. All right, up to our second tree. Aren't they pretty? I do not remember what the variety is, the apple that we were just picking, but this one is called Norland, and these are a little bit later to ripen than the other ones. I feel like these ones could go a little bit longer. Let's taste one and see. Sure pretty, isn't it? Yeah, you know what? I think these ones could go a bit longer because they're still a little bit tart. They're good, but I think another couple of days, maybe even a week. Can you guys see the comfrey that's in under here? So you remember how I stomped it right down back, I think that was in July, and it's grown right back up again. So now it's gonna die back and die in a giant circle all the way around this fruit tree, and it actually completely suppresses all of the weeds and the grass from growing in close around the tree. And then these have a ton of good nutrients in it, and as they decay, those nutrients become available to the tree roots. So this is an awesome plant to have in your orchard. Oh, I forgot, there was something else that I wanted to pick up here, and this will be a first time to be able to harvest off these. Do you guys know what these are? So these are hops, and this is a medicinal variety of hop. And these are supposed to be really good for anxiety, restlessness, sleep issues, or anything like that. So I'm gonna pick a bunch of these and dehydrate them. And my mom told me that you can use these to make a little sachet to put in your pillow to sleep at night. And apparently it's supposed to help you sleep that way. But you can also make a tea out of it. This is the first time that I have had enough hops on here to actually harvest. It's kind of exciting. They don't do super well up here in this part of the garden because it is fairly dry up here, and they do apparently, as I have learned, like quite a bit of moisture. So I try to remember to give these guys a good soak once a week, because these hop vines are probably 5 years old, and they are certainly not very big compared to other people's hops vines that I've seen that are just absolutely massive. Definitely has an autumn feeling out here right now, just the sound of the wind through the leaves that are starting to dry a little bit on the trees. The wind always sounds different through the trees this time of year. I am very excited because in just under 2 weeks from now, the doors of my membership are going to be opening again. And if you haven't heard about my membership, it is a website, a private website that I have, where I have a forum, which kind of is sort of like Facebook, except it is a private group where we can share all kinds of things that are going on in our lives throughout the week. People are posting on it every day. It's very active, and I'm in there several times a day to answer people's questions. Right now there's lots of gardening, harvesting, and preserving kind of questions going on in there, of course, just because of the time of year. But there are people from all over the world in the membership. We have one of our members from Australia. Hi, Helen, who is just going into spring. So we have told her that she's gonna have to keep us all going throughout the winter with the pictures of her summer garden in Australia, because we're just about to head into where we're gonna be planning our gardens, not so much preserving and stuff, at least in the part of the world that I'm from. I'm in Canada, in British Columbia. So we're just coming to the end of our gardening season here. So we have the forum. One of my personal favorite parts of the community are our weekly calls. So we have a call every second week, which is usually topic related. The community will talk about or share within the forum different topics that we'd like to kind of dig a little bit deeper into. And then every alternating week, we have a general chat call where we catch up, and it's kind of like a Q&A, just a general Q&A for people to ask their questions. And the calls are so much fun. There's a lot of laughter in those calls. But if that's not your jam, kind of meeting face to face, we do have the option to be able to have your camera and your mic off so that you can just sit and listen to the conversation, and quite a few of our members do that. I also record them, and those recordings are available usually within an hour of the call so that you can listen to them on your own time. And then I also have a library where I've been collecting videos and articles answering kind of the most commonly asked questions within the community, so that there's a place that you can go, especially if you like to absorb your information and your knowledge through the written word. I do have, I don't even know how many articles we have in there at this point, but there's quite a few, and it's growing. It grows every month. I usually try to put at least a couple of new articles in every month. Oh, the smell of this, I just love it. I don't know why I've never come over here and actually smelled these before, but they smell so good. I'm to be offering a free trial month of the community this time around. If you're not on my newsletter list yet, but you would like to be, for when that offer gets mailed out, probably in just about 2 weeks time, you can sign up for it by clicking the link below this video in the pinned comment or in the show notes below. And I am really excited about it, and I hope to meet you in there. All right, friends, I feel like we have enough hops here. Look at that. So we'll bring this up to the house and the apples up to the house. We should probably take a quick wander down to the high tunnel before we head up there and just see if there's anything that needs to get picked down there. The garden is most definitely slowing down at this point. We still have the huge potato patch up there that is going to need to be picked. Probably going to do that next week. We have a couple of these gigantic pumpkins in here to pick. There's some squash hiding in here that we need to pick. All the carrots, of course, and a few other things. Oh, look, one of our sugar pumpkins is ripening. That's exciting. I'm just going to try to pace out these harvests over the next couple of weeks because I have been hustling. Oh, as you know, if you've been here for the last month, you know it has been definitely a bit of a hustle getting all of the stuff in from the garden. It just felt like everything became mature at once and needed to be harvested. So I'm just pacing out these last few harvests over the next couple of weeks so that I can enjoy it a little bit because the garden season is almost over. I did do that huge picking in here the other day. So, oh my gosh, what is that? Look at this. This is going to be a yellow pepper. I don't think I've ever grown a yellow pepper before. We have so many peppers in here. Look at them all. There's definitely a few tomatoes here that I could pick, but I think I'm just gonna wait. I'll give it another day or so before I come down and do a bunch. Oh, we're fogging up. Yeah, I think I'll just wait and pick all of those because currently I have my roaster oven filled with tomatoes. I have actually both my roaster ovens. One is filled with tomato puree that I'm cooking down to make some kind of sauce. I'm not sure what yet. And then the other one is filled with chopped tomatoes that are just cooking down. I think that I have preserved upwards of 600 pounds, maybe even a little bit more, of tomatoes this year. And I am definitely feeling the desire to be done. Oh look, I forgot a Cinderella pumpkin here. That's okay. She can stay in there for a little bit longer. I really don't want to go back inside. It is just so beautiful out here and it smells so good. Don't you just love the smell of autumn? It smells amazing. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys this. Someone pointed this out in a video a few weeks ago about this plant here. So I was calling this a choke cherry. When I planted this, it was 7 years ago and it was just a little tiny shoot. And when I got this email, thank you, whoever it was that sent this email to me, and pointed out that they thought that this was a choke berry, or otherwise known as an aronia. I remembered that I had ordered an aronia. I ordered most of the berry bushes that I have here from the Incredible Seed Company here in, I think they're in Nova Scotia, maybe. But they're definitely in Canada. Anyways, when he had written me that, I remembered that indeed this was a choke berry, not a choke cherry. I feel like that was a reasonable mistake to have made, but for those of you that were like, that doesn't look like a choke cherry to me, you were indeed right. It was not a choke cherry, but a choke berry. So I have made choke berry jelly, not choke cherry jelly. And what did I do with the rest of them? I think I freeze dried them or turned them into juice or something. Anyway, my forest garden is starting to look a little bit wild, like a little bit of a jungle. It needs some attention. Where are you going? My garden kitties. All right, friends, enough dilly-dallying. Let's head back up to the house. Okay, friends, we are inside. I have apples in the sink, peeler core right here. So we're gonna grab a few of them. So we're gonna make a rustic pie with these apples. I am also going to dehydrate a bunch of these into apple rings. My kids prefer dehydrated, as do I actually, dehydrated apple rings to freeze dried, just because we like the chewier texture of a dehydrated apple ring better than the freeze dried one. So we're gonna do that. My pie crust's already made and chilling, so we'll pull that out in a second. A little bit of lemon juice in our water so that our apples don't oxidize. Okay, I think we're gonna add a little bit more than that because these are gonna shrink down quite a bit when we make our pie. Okay, so all that's gonna go in our juicer. Pastry here, so this is just the recipe off the Tender Flake box. Been using that recipe forever. Let's just push that back in, shall we? Otherwise I'm probably gonna poke myself on it. There, the nice thing about a rustic pie like this is it's rustic, so it doesn't have to get all fancy. Okay, so now we're gonna drain our liquid out of here, and into this we're gonna add a little bit of flour, some brown sugar. This is my homemade apple pie spice, and this is one that will be on the website pretty soon here, so I don't know, we'll add a good solid teaspoon and a half-ish to that. And we'll mix all this up. Now, if I had some butter, I would be adding some big dollops of butter to this, but I am actually out of butter right now. We're gonna be doing our big fall Costco shop here in the next probably week. So I'll be able to stock back up on butter there. I'm gonna preheat my oven to 400. I know it doesn't look pretty, but just trust me on this. So we're gonna do an egg wash on here. My bright yellow farm eggs. Just sprinkle a little bit of sugar on that. And now we're gonna pop it in the oven and bake it until it's golden brown and bubbly. Okay, just wanted to show you our rustic apple pie. Doesn't that look good? Can't wait to try a piece of that. We also have some pears here that Dan bought that we are going to freeze dry, but I just need to add a little bit of lemon juice to this water. because they're starting to brown a little bit. Oh, gross. I think I just stepped on one. Oh, that's unfortunate. Gross. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is stepping on things in the kitchen. I just hate it. Anyway, let's slice into this pie and see what it's gonna taste like. How simple is that, hey? Look at that. So this has been cooling for a while. Absolutely delicious. I was gonna say that this would be perfect with a little bit of vanilla ice cream, but honestly, it is so good with those fresh apples and this flaky crust. It doesn't need anything. All right, friends, that is going to be it for me today. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.